Roger, when you look back on last year, you identified some of the areas where you think you could have been better, and how do you rectify that?
Well, the kicking game is just getting Christian back to where he was his freshman year. I know that, the coaches and everybody were quite him, but I told him, I said, it's the same kid that won us 5 games the year before. And he was a true freshman, and, the sophomore slump, whatever it is, we'll write it off, but we started new. And so that's the one thing, is just getting back his confidence. And I think towards the end of spring last year, we started getting that confidence back. He was a second team all-year conference as a freshman, as a kicker, punter. And so, we have to get him back to that level.
You've always been an offensive coach, and you always adjust your offense based on what you do best.
Right.
With Dakota, as you mentioned, you've had a running quarterback, but a guy that can still throw, but his primary strength was being able to run the football at the quarterback position. Offensive tweaks this year. How do you, from a attack standpoint, how would it be balanced?
I've been around. Obviously Monty's the only one that's been a bit longer, but we've run different types of offense, and we'll get into the right personnel set and the right skill set to match whoever's going to be our quarterback. Right now Brenton Colabella has had primetime experience. Fairmont, we lost 21-20. I thought he came in and did an admirable job, put 2 scores on the board in that game, drove us down. So just, surrounding him with the type of people that we don't have to rely so much of big plays from his legs and making it more with his mind and with his arm. And I think we have the capabilities of doing that. When, we're very fortunate that we can get into a bunch of different sets. We toiled around with some of the things that Stanford's doing with all the tight ends, because we do have some big physical tight ends that can run and catch the ball, but also they can block. And so then it'll give teams in our conference a different look, because let's face it, most of our teams in our conference have gone to more of a finesse style. A lot of RPOs, and not a lot of them are doing it physically. They're doing it more by position blocking. And so, we can offer a different thing that they'll see once a year, hopefully.
Defensively, you're still young in some spots, but you had guys that last year, because of injury, did get some playing time. Where are your concerns defensively?
Well, I said it's in the 2 interior guys. We're 4-2-5, so our nose and our 3 technique, we have to identify those players. And we're fortunate enough that we have 2 players coming back that have a lot of experience, and Cody Ryan will be one of the best D-linemen to play for us from Brook. And then also Jamil Raymore, that's going into his senior season. But establishing the depth there, we're used to playing 12 guys. And right now we probably got 3 that, if we had to, they're going to have to play the whole game until we can get some of the freshmen and some of the transfers up to snuff. Hopefully they're ready by game 1, so we can continue that rotation and that continuity inside.
Roger, in terms of recruiting, this league is at the highest exposure it's probably ever been, much in part due to the teams making the playoffs and Shepherd's run. And at West Liberty, what you guys have been able to do with record-setting quarterback tenure and also the basketball program. When you go out and recruit now, is it easier now from a education standpoint with the kids when you go into homes than it was when you stepped foot at West Liberty?
Oh yeah, just from what you guys do for us media-wise, I think has been the biggest change, is that we're not fighting to get an article in the paper. We have with West Virginia Metro News, it's going statewide, so we're getting in the state. And also, when the media, becomes bigger in the state, it trickles to the out-of-state places.
Finally, what are some of the keys for you?
Well, for us to be successful, we're going to have to rely on our defense and our special teams. They got to be a big part until we can find our identity offensively. Taking care of the football is always big. And, on our level, I don't care what level you're. It comes down to luck. You got to stay healthy and keep positions. You can't year in and year out have the same injuries at the same position, and then you're playing, freshmen that aren't physically ready or aren't mentally ready, and sometimes it takes to the 5th or 6th game, and when you put them in the first, they're going to become injured too. We had a offensive lineman last year that we would want a redshirt, Rucker, that ended up starting 8 games for us. Now, spring ball, he was a completely different player. Where and it'll pay off in the long run, but right now it's in the present and about winning this year, not necessarily next year. But some of those injuries made us better for the future. But just at that point in time, them 3 1-point losses. I know the big thing last year was it easier losing by 1 or losing by a loss is a loss. It doesn't really matter.